Hey, Coach, I hope you're doing well today. I hope you're having a great day so far. If you're not, man, I'm sorry. I hope it'll get better from here on out and you can have a better day. Today, I just want to spend a couple moments sharing with you about just excuses. You know, do you ever make excuses for where things have gone wrong or things have gone bad or things have just not worked out like you'd originally planned? Or do you have players that just simply make excuses as to why they didn't come to practice, why they didn't get something done, why they didn't do the extra workout, why their diet is bad? Or maybe you're the person that makes those kind of excuses, right? Like, I don't work out because I'm not the athlete, I'm the coach. Or I don't do this or I don't do that because blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is, excuses that we make all the time will get us into a heap of trouble. Excuses are just one of those things that kind of have become the norm in our culture. But the Bible does talk about it, and I want to encourage you in this. There's this story about this very thing. People making excuses and not going to this really great opportunity, this really great event that Jesus had invited people to. He actually shared this parable about inviting people to a banquet. And in that banquet parable, people went out and they invited everybody and all that kind of good stuff. And they were inviting all these people to just come and enjoy, come and appreciate, come and have a good time at this banquet that the king is throwing. But people continue to come up with excuses as to why they could not. I mean, one dude was like, hey, I just bought some more oxen and I need to go try them out. One guy said, hey, I just got married, so I can't come to the banquet. I'm like, go, just bring your wife, man. It's not that big a deal. Another one is like, hey, I just bought a field. I need to go take care of some business, and so I'm not going to be able to come to the banquet. And what was funny is just that banquets happen probably in the evening, and all that work is done, and you can still go, but people made excuses anyway. In Luke 14:18, it says, but without exception, they all who were invited began to make excuses. I've made excuses before where I've blamed problems or mistakes on the sports field or just in life on somebody else because I didn't want to own the problem. I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to say, yeah, that was me. Well, Coach, maybe there's some things that are going on with you in your home life or you in your teaching life or you and your coaching life, and really the problem might be with you that you need to own. Let's stop making excuses and let's set an example for our players. And let's also maybe just consider, hey, maybe we need to have a talk with some of our students about their excuses. Maybe you're actually doing great and things are incredible for you, but you have some players that are just like, man, they're just constantly giving you lame excuses. And you know what? That's a teenager thing to do, right? However, we can train them to do otherwise because excuses, they spread like a virus. I mean, once students start saying those kinds of things on your team, another kid's going to pick up on it. They're going to continue to do the same thing, just making excuses for things that didn't happen. And you know what? We do the same thing. When we tell one excuse and share like one reason we didn't do something, the next time we fail or the next time we miss them, we come up with another excuse. I mean, it's like one of the gifts that some of us have is having excuses for things. Man, listen to this quote, though, by Don Wilder. By Don Wilder, he said this: excuses are the nails used to build a house of failure. I mean, that's intense, right? Excuses are the nails used to build a house of failure. Excuses never make us better. They don't change our circumstances. They just make us people who don't own the problem and don't work towards a solution. If we are making excuses and it's just a habit for us, man, we're running on a road of failure. And for us, that's just not something that we want to do. I mean, if we're coaches and we're influencers, we got to lead the way. Sometimes own the problem. And you know what? And that's just with your student athletes. What about in your own life outside of school and outside of sports and all that kind of stuff? Are there some excuses you're making for not getting healthy? Oh, I don't have time, or what? Are there some excuses that you're making for not seeing to your own children the way that you should? The way that you could? Are there some excuses as to why you're not really fighting for your marriage if you're married? But instead of fighting for it, you're fighting in it? I mean, maybe you're like saying, man, there's no time for a date night. Well, you know what? Maybe it's time to make time. There's no time for me to work out or eat right. Well, maybe it's time to make time. There's no time for me to read the Bible and spend time with God or even spend time with friends. Well, maybe it's time to make time instead of make excuses. Excuses never make us better. Instead of pointing the finger and playing the blame game, we need to take responsibility and assume some ownership of the problem. And I know so many of you are great leaders, and you're really good at that. You understand, you take the heat for your team a lot of times when there's a team failure. You know what it looks like to own that. But maybe we need to remember to do that in our personal lives as well, not just with our players and in what we do as a coach or as a teacher. Maybe there's some spaces in our lives that we really need to own and say, look, I'm not getting this the right way. And I need to stop making excuses and really start to figure out how to do it the right way. God invites us into a life to the fullest when we live in and through Him. And maybe you're making excuses as to why you're not seeking Him or pursuing a way that honors God, because you don't have time on Sunday to go to church, or don't have time to read the Bible, or don't have time to pray. Maybe that's you. But maybe there's some other area of your life where you know you're coming up short and all you're doing is making excuses. Well, let's just stop it. Like I said, excuses are the nails used to build a house of failure. Most of us, we don't want to fail. We want to succeed. We're very driven people for the most part. Well, let's drive toward success and being purposeful rather than when we fail just making excuses. Let's learn from them and let's pursue a way to fix them. I want to encourage you in that. Let's do that together. I'm talking to you about it right now on video, and I'm thinking about some stuff I got to work on as soon as I turn off the video. But I'll tell you what, man, it's a good thing and it's a God thing. And I want to encourage you in that. Take responsibility and stop making excuses. Let's go.